on a Wednesday evening in North Bay, Ontario, Canada, as we play host to the Ford World Women's Curling Championship 2018. It's a lovely sunset as we're officially into spring. Teams getting set for this one as we see multiple shots of the lovely lakes that surround North Bay, Ontario, Canada. Of course, the North Bay Memorial Gardens. The North Bay Battalion, the junior hockey team, have been pushed out on a road trip as the curlers take over inside. All four sheets in play here this evening. Our feature game, and what a good one. Sweden, Canada, doesn't matter who's representing. It's going to be a knock 'em out, drag you down battle between these two Olympic champions, the last two Olympic champions. Luke Ole joined with Hans Frauenlob, and we'll get a chance. We'll go through lots to talk about in this, but first let's meet the teams here for Sweden. Sophia Mabergs, the lead. Second, Agnes Nockenhauer. The third, Sarah McManus. And their skip, Anna Hasselborg, off their recent victory in South Korea. They will take on Canada. So both these teams unbeaten coming in. Doesn't get any better than that. Dawn McEwen, their lead. Second, Jill Officer. Third, Caitlin Laws. And their skip, Jennifer Jones. And as we enter session 14, playoffs starting to line themselves up. The top team separating from the bottom. Canada, Sweden sitting right now 2 games clear of that 3 spot, which is huge. We'll talk about that throughout. Korea 6-2, Russia 5-2, Czech Republic, US at 4-4. Japan right behind at 3-4. Then China, Switzerland at 3-5. Denmark, Italy, Scotland all at 2-6. Germany rounds it out with a 1-6 record. Germany is in action tonight. They'll take on Russia on sheet A. Well, on sheet B, Japan at 3-4 takes on Italy. Sheet C, China must win against Scotland, who's at 2-6. And our game's on sheet D. See those zeros in the loss column for both these teams. I'll bring in Hans Frauenlob now. Good evening, Hans.
Evening, Luke.
What else can you say? Undefeated, Olympic champions.
When you looked at the schedule this week, you knew that there was going to be a collision course to Wednesday evening, and we've been anticipating this one all week. As you said on the intro, our last 2 Olympic champions are meeting here unbeaten. Somebody's going to walk off the ice tonight with 1 loss. Who's it going to be? I wouldn't want to pick. They're both playing so well.
Yeah, Sweden has continued that run, and it hasn't seemed to that post-Olympic letdown that some teams have. They're here, they're just playing. They're a team that likes to play a lot. That helps them.
They absolutely do, and they approach it so professionally, as do all these teams here, but they really have a system for how they prepare for every event. And they've brought that here. They have suffered no Olympic hangover whatsoever. Excellent performance from both teams. This should be fantastic.
Well, we don't want to waste all the stats early between these two. There'll be lots to talk about throughout. Canada coming off a win against Korea this afternoon. We'll get you set. Sweden has the red stones, Canada with the yellow. Canada narrowly getting the last stone advantage.
By a grand total of 6 centimeters over 2 shots. Really close.
And we look
as
at
we're
the rules
expecting
of play.
the game to be. And
6 ends minimum, 38 minutes of thinking time, and 1 60-second timeout.
A real buzz in the building here tonight, Luke. A near capacity crowd at the North Bay Memorial Gardens. A fantastic venue for curling. Fans are up nice and close to the action, and when it gets loud in here, it gets really loud. This hometown crowd are wanting to scream and shout for their home team, but Anna Hasselborg and her Olympic champions will be trying to keep the crowd quiet. Let's see how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, and I think with Canada getting the hammer to start this first end, you might see a little more aggressive than if Sweden had it. They like to, if the first zone goes in, play the hit, whereas Canada, I think we might see the corner guard.
Well, that would be fun. We would really love to see that. Such expectation for this game, and level of high performance. Canada was really pushed this afternoon. Kim Woo-jung in South Korea gave them a really strong game, but ultimately Jennifer Jones prevailed.
Well, they were pushed their last 2 games. Last night they had a struggle. They were fighting it a little bit against Scotland, but came up with the win. Sometimes you need those, a little bit of a push.
Certainly do. And now Anna Hasselborg, Olympic champion, started this season as a very good team on the competitive circuit, but have just grown and grown and grown. Came up with the gold medal performance at the Olympics, and now they are truly in the elite class of women's curling teams, certainly now, and could be well into the future. It's a very young team with a fantastic future.
Yeah, we'll see the ages here. 24-year-old Sophia Malbergs.
Started curling at the ripe old age of 6.
Start them young. The Swedish machine, we've been calling them this week. They just go in, do their job.
Yeah, the Hasselborg Express has been rolling this week.
Both these teams very good with the hammer.
Yeah, the full range of shots for both teams. So Dawn McEwen, Canadian lead. What will be the first play?
Stay with the guys. Oh, we're good. Looks heavy. We're back for it.
Just a little bump on this one. A little different. I wasn't sure with the broom going down.
This is interesting. No hit, no corner guard, electing to play a tap on the Swedish stone. Just coming around it, just sitting beside it.
I agreed with you. I didn't think it was going to.
Interesting, Luke. This is going to be fun.
A lot of teams may be thinking that, oh, we'll put up the corner guard. Little difference now. Malbergs will play the hit. Canada's playing in their 8th game. This is their 7th game starting with the hammer.
It's a big advantage. A few years ago in curling, we changed the system around. Back in the bad old days, we used to do it with a coin toss, but now it's settled with draw shots before the game. Each team plays one clockwise and one counterclockwise draw. Add them up. Closest one gets the hammer. So it's a test of skill. And now for the first time in the playoff system, it's also a secondary tiebreaker. There is no tiebreaker game here at the Ford World Women's Curling Championship. There are teams tied for the playoff spots. Head-to-head record will separate them, but if head-to-head records can't separate multiple teams, the draw shot distance is the secondary tiebreaker. So it really matters.
Look at that, right into the pocket
Great
for
shot.
Dawn McEwen. The lead spot might be where there's a little bit of a difference. Dawn hasn't been at the top of her game, which we're normally seeing. I think she's been given some stones that maybe teams having some issues with through the games. Still at 85%. I'm saying she's a little off and she's at 85.
Yeah.
Sophia Malbergs is at 90%, the top lead. So see Agnes Knockenhauer, who's also at the top at 91%.
It's mighty fine playing. So we're not disappointed right away here in the first end. 4 rocks thrown, 3 of them are in play. They're clustered and corner frozen to each other. Game on.
Not your traditional start, nor your conventional.
I love it. I think this is great. They're both trying something a little bit different. You know, it's almost like a prize fight, and it has the feel of a heavyweight battle here tonight. And it's like the first round, and all of a sudden your opponent comes out southpaw, and you weren't expecting it.
9.5, but closer to 9. Yeah.
Jill Officer was hoping to ride out into the sunset here. Of course, announcing she's retiring at the end of this curling season. Or I should say stepping away from the game. You never know when.
Yeah, it's
come back.
Yep, Dawn. Yep.
Jill has indicated that next season she intends to be the alternate on this team. For me, that's not retiring. That's just being ready.
She's not going to commit as much. And plus, these teams are now making a 4-year commitment. Of course, the Olympic quadrennial is now what a lot of the teams are built towards.
Yeah. Curling coming back onto the Olympic program changed everything in curling at the elite level. Teams do absolutely plan 4 years of their life around trying to qualify for an Olympic Games. It's a huge commitment. Nice shot.
Well, making the simple shot, just forcing your opponent to make it, as we see Pia Lindholm.
3-time world champion as an athlete, and now head of the high performance program in Sweden and the mastermind of the development of elite curling in Sweden. He has done a masterful job, it can only be said. Gold medal winner in the women's discipline.
Yeah, it had a silver medal on the men's side.
Silver on the men's side.
Oh, double back by the Canadian side. Still Sweden lying one.
Really nice roll, though, and a really dangerous spot for Hasselborg. Really short run back now for Canada.
Well, Canada 51% of the time with last stone, scoring multiple points.
Sarah McManus.
You see the difference. All these Swedish players in their 20s. See Jill and Jen in their 40s.
Classic thing, youth versus experience. 2014 gold medalist versus the 2018 gold medalist.
Caitlin Laws, the youngest member of this Canadian side at 29. Well, she started at 4.
Caitlin, of course, is another 2018 gold medalist. Half of the gold medal winning Canadian mixed doubles pair with John Morris.
Oh, but a little rollout. Leaves just the one yellow stone, one red stone in the rings.
Interesting call here by Sweden, electing to guard. Real confidence.
The Sweden team missed the podium last year at the Worlds, finishing 4th. Canadian women's team's running a pretty long win streak at the World Championship. Of course, 7-0 so far here. Went 13-0 last year. Rachel Homan last year winning the world title.
Really working this one that needs to curl to guard. I don't know if they're going to get cover or not. Maximum effort from the brushing there, getting a decent amount of cover on that Yellowstone. Very well swept. Very powerful sweeping from this Swedish team.
Peel it. Or peel, yeah.
There's the result. Nearly fully covered.
Throw back line.
And showing the, if you have to show a corner of that yellow rock, that's the corner to show. Because the angle, not great for the Canadians. Okay, they're going to make a play at it.
I think the team here would be probably like either 4. Yeah, I agree.
So quiet, couple different options with this one for the Canadian third.
Gotta go. Right. Really light. Really hard. Top really hard. Not even Jill. Hard. Gotta go.
Sweepers don't think so.
Keep going. Go, 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 go.
Small tap, not a bad shot. Stacking them up in front of that Swedish stone.
Now, not what they wanted. They were trying to either get to that one playing back line. Didn't throw it nearly enough.
Okay. Back 12.
It's not an awful result. Any contact at all on those yellow stones and the Swedish stone will vaporize.
If they have any available.
Jag tänker att det är helt nytt här. Det här är ingen som har gått på ett tag.
I think we'll see another guard here for Sweden.
See Sarah McManus patting her brush on the center line. Looks like it, Luke. Canada has the hammer here in the first. Sweden lying one. .28-year-old. Second world championship.
Bra linje!
Anna Hasselborg. Nice control of the weight. That's exactly where Sarah McManus patted her brush.
Well, does Canada try and run that one onto those yellows now?
It's pretty tempting because
Or
you've got
double
you've got 2 stones of your own. If you run them back, you're certainly going to leave one of your stones sitting in the 8-foot. McManus and Hasselborg looking on. Nice thing for Canada is they've got options. They can run straight back, a little bit on the brush side, double clear the front, opens it up. If they run straight back, Canada could be lying 2 buried.
Well, Jennifer Jones, 43-year-old, second oldest skip in the field, next to Angelina Jensen of Denmark. Run it back, separate those stones, lie 2.
A little unlucky. Exposes one of her shots, but one of them is buried. Nice shot by Jennifer Jones. Sweepers did a great job holding the line. A fraction higher, and it stuffs back perfectly. Just slightly crosses the face of the Swedish stone, so it punches it out to the left as we're looking at it.
So Hasselborg now has 1 shot to make the hit and roll.
The way the guards are staggered, Luke, she's got about 3 rock widths that she can stop this stone on the roll. But it is a long roll. She's going to have to roll it about 5 or 6 feet.
Well, final stone for Sweden without the hammer in this first end.
Not laying a brush to it. It's a bad sign if you're Sweden.
Now on the wrong side of it.
Nearly jammed it on the back as well. So, draw for 2. Great start for Canada.
It was an interesting way to try and set it up, but they put some stones in. They got a little mistake early that they were able to get a freeze in there. And now full 12-foot. And Jennifer Jones continue as she has been against every team so far. Efficient with the hammer.
Should stop full 12, I would think.
Second best percentage of any team in the field.
Yes.
If anything,
But
quite
not by
quite
a bit slower than drawn to butt.
Yes, yes.
Just trying to lock in the weight. They are going out quite wide to get around those center guards.
Well, the 2008 world champion.
I gave it some. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, 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 go.
Always nice for the skip to be able to try and draw one into the house to get that extra point. Really gotta
I'm not
go.
sure. I'm not sure.
Need full 12-foot. All 3 of them on it need to get it to the 12-foot.
It is light. It is only 1. They're going to take a look at it, but I think it's only a single point.
It is just 1. Jennifer Jones just pulls the string. Wasn't sure. She even said she added on that one. So those are mistakes and points left out on the ice that could cost them later. They lead though 1-0 after 1. Back inside, North Bay Memorial Gardens. Luke Coley, Hans Frauenlaub, the Ford World Women's Curling Championship. Canada missed an opportunity to get a second point. Came up short. And they used a different strategy.
Yeah. Round 1 to Sweden in this 10-end boxing match. Yeah, different strategy, Luke. You're exactly right. It was going to pay off. It was definitely paying off. It was a shot for 2 there. Sorry to interrupt you there, Luke, but that's, I think, the kind of thing that both teams are going to have to do. You can't play this one too conventionally. Your opponent is the strongest opponent you're likely to face this week. You have to have every bit of your game tonight.
And they know each other. There's people keeping an eye on it. There's staff that have been watching each other. Obviously, the Swedish team through the Olympics, nothing can go without a secret, without being available to other teams to watch. Any tendencies will come out. Jennifer Jones, this is trip number 6 to the Worlds. So teams know she's here. She's been around.
Corner guard set. Yeah, no secrets here. Both of these teams very active on the competitive circuit. The games are well known to each other. Hard work for the sweepers tonight. The stone tucks around the center guard. Full 12.
The Canadian side had a busy game earlier today, sweeping-wise. A lot of stones going end to end and playing back-to-back draws, whereas Sweden had the afternoon off.
The World Championships this year going to 13 teams. That means it's a 12-game round robin. That's a lot of curling. Looking to get some cover behind the corner guard. Pops out the other side. It's in the open if Canada wants to make a play on it. Sophie Marburgs. There's a look at it.
Because it's on this side, it'll probably look from the hack that you have a little bit less than.
Yeah, maybe not fully open, but open enough for Jill Officer to have a go. Stone still tracking. Gets to the nose. Nice shot.
Yeah, it's a much more difficult shot than people think. Just going to the wide side, got it to hit and stick.
Yeah, that's because you're going down a path that you're not playing much. Ice is a little bit fresher. Sometimes it'll track or run straight for a little longer. Agnes Knockenhauer. Looking for an inside roll, but that's not happening.
Well, sits. Looks like very close to shot stone, the top of the 12-foot.
Yeah, I'm picking shot, but probably not for long. Jennifer Jones has her brush beside it, so Jill Officer will remove this stone.
A little stagger, and it is Canada line 3, but corner guard available.
Well, in the way those stones are staggered, it might be something that Hasselborg decides to draw around as well. Those two guards on the right-hand side of our picture might be something that Sweden could tuck around as well. Knockenhauer. Lots of finish on these stones. Comes to rest just on the tee line. Very nice shot. Hack weight, says Jennifer Jones for Caitlin Laws. She can see a corner of that red stone.
Well, and that's why Sweden would have loved to have that in front of that other stone, that the shot becomes that much more difficult for the double Olympic champion. 2014 with this team, 2018 the mixed doubles.
By the guard. Nice shot.
Well, Canada sitting 4. Missed the opportunity to score 2 in the first, and now trying to get a force back.
Closer to board? No, I liked it.
Guards are possible to get behind if you can roll behind the guards. Sarah McManus. Right on the nose, though, wide open for Canada.
Well, Hans, how do you defend without... There's always going to be that opportunity to use the corner. Jennifer's obviously going to remove this. Does Sweden try and use that corner at some point?
Yeah, well, I was a little surprised on the last shot, actually. If Hasselborg was aggressive, she could have drawn her last one around that corner guard and make Canada make a guard or some other play to defend. Hit and rolls are tough. This one will roll out the other side into the open, so this will be the chance for Anna Hasselborg to use the draw and get around. I'd be inclined to have a go at the stones in the top of the house and get to the red, but Hasselborg looking at it now. Still wants to use the corner guard. She can get the stone there and into a position, and she needs to get full 12. That's the problem. The stone there to the left. She draws around the corner guard. She may not get shot rock. Stone in the back 12 would outcount it. Although I don't really like this call. Playing a hit on the stone in the back 12, but looking to roll inside behind the corner, behind those guards. Just tougher to get there. That's the shot.
Well, both these teams are not afraid to use other stones and to play with multiple stones of their opponents that are in the house.
Yeah. If you're trying to get a stone to a spot, hitting and rolling it there is far more difficult than just drawing it there. And so Sarah McManus now going to try to duck around those two stones that are staggered at the front of the house. Good looking line.
Oh, very nice to the 4-foot for Sweden. Lie 1.
Thought they might brush it just a fraction to get a little bit more pull, but Anna Hasselborg wanted to keep the angle.
Do I have any of it? Yeah. Not quite a quarter, like a few inches.
A little extra bit of sweeping might have hit it a little bit better.
Give her a go, and then if I rub, I guess thinking like hack then? Yeah, back like just hack. Or do you like this better? I guess even if I'm here, it's better, hey? We still have something.
I don't mind making a play and then
Okay.
Because even if you hit it into this one, then it's open.
Okay.
I like that.
Well, that was a stone that Jill Officer rolled to the stagger earlier in the end. And said it then, there's a chance to get to it. There's the jam, there's got to get by the guard.
Yeah,
there's
it's a little tight maybe.
difficulty to the shot.
I can't see.
It's the jam. She plays hack weight at it. Hits what she can see. She jams on the stone in the back right of our pictures are looking at it. Then Hasselborg just goes around again.
So quarter goes across. Across is like an inch. You want to throw weight at it?
Good. Just pick it.
Might get everything spinning. Throw hack.
A little indecision here about the weight to play. What Jennifer Jones is worried about is the jam. She said, what does it take to go across it? Caitlin Law says about an inch. That means she has to hit it really thin.
Skip Stones to the second end.
Yep, whoa. She must be in the neighborhood.
Well, make contact. Spin it off the back one, get it out. It'll be to lie 3.
Yeah, just squeezes it back just far enough. Just far enough.
That's good.
No, I didn't want to play it too much, Taylor.
That was important. If that stone is sitting in
Nice shot.
second shot position as opposed to fourth shot, it is right now, changes the shot selection entirely for Sweden. They could get really aggressive now. Sweden has to be a little bit careful.
Ja, men du lirar en 10. Den här är bättre, vi vet det va? Gillar du det? Jag funderar på... Den är bättre! Den är bättre!
You don't want to get over aggressive, but in this situation, the caliber of shooting that Sweden has,
I think we try that come around.
I would be inclined to have another go at the same shot that McManus threw, but she's going to make a play on the shot just to the left of the brush being held by Sarah McManus.
Try and make the roll, make the long roll.
I think so. Certainly doesn't want to leave it right there.
She could probably even roll into her own and be shot stone.
Yeah, she does have catchers. They're close, on and off it. Rolling to the outside. A shorter roll. She's got some cover. Is it enough? Well, it was the roll, but it was the outside roll. We can see it's half under cover.
They're looking to see who's third shot. They're obviously taking a closer look. Maybe it's closer than you think.
Maybe. Looks like yellow to me, but perhaps it is red. They are taking a long look at it.
Becomes a non-question if you stick around with this shooter.
That's true. Gentle weight here from Jennifer Jones.
Well, more work for the Canadian front end. Got to get past the front, sneak it by.
Oh, just past it.
Great
Just
brush
past it.
again.
Nearly disaster, but the front end saved that one. Officer McEwen. Massive brushing effort there, and they needed every bit of it. Canada lying.
I'll say 3.
We believe 3. I agree, Luke. I think that stone at the top of the screen is out, counting the one at the back.
Looks like just the straight draw.
Yeah, I was just lining that up myself.
Broom looks like it could be both.
could be the hit or the draw. We'll know in a moment. She slides out of the hack.
Men det borde vara samma här, eller? Alltså samma fart som gadden hitåt så i spåret, tror jag. Ja, så 0 är bra tid.
Jag gillar 0.
Ja, jag med.
Du har råd 0 mot 0,5.
Ja.
It's a big shot early in the game, that's for sure.
Well, the final stone here of the second end.
Bra fart. Det går ganska rakt. Helt det. Håll upp. Håll upp.
Usual little ad on the release for Anna Hasselborg.
No, they're not laying a brush to it, Luke.
Need into the forefoot. This is facing a couple. Looks like it's going to slide. It'll keep going. How far? Back 8, back 12.
Steal of one.
Canada gets their point back that they missed in the first via the steal. And a 2-0 Canadian lead. It is a battle of the Giants. 8-0 Sweden, 7-0 Canada. It's 2-0 Canada leading. Well, the Ford World Women's Curling Championship here in North Bay, Ontario, Canada. We play the third end. The top two teams right now. If the playoffs started right now, these two would get a direct bye right into the playoffs and into the semifinals. With a win, Sweden can officially clinch a playoff spot, as this is game number 9 for them. Canada would have to win and see what happens with the other games for that to be a clinching scenario.
Center guard there from Don McEwen. That's right, Luke. New playoff format this year at the Ford World Women's Curling Championships. 6 teams make the playoff phase. As you said, top 2 advance to the semifinal directly. And it's 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 in the quarterfinal. Winner of those games advance to the semifinal. So there's a genuine reward for finishing at the top of the class in the round robin phase. And these teams are duking it out. Number 1 and 2 at this point, as we're heading for the business end of the competition.
I think it's kind of fitting that the last 2 teams unbeaten are the last 2 Olympic champs as well.
Yeah, there's a certain poetry in that, no doubt. Don McEwen wraps half around the front guard, top 8 foot. More than half around, actually, 3/4 buried. Yeah, it's Sweden, really, that has suffered the first blow, that stolen point. Teams are so evenly matched, and little things like that, 2 or 3 feet heavy with a draw, could be the difference in the entire match.
When Sweden hasn't given up many steals throughout the week. That's the thing that's a little bit surprising as well.
Yeah, quite uncharacteristic, you're right.
It wasn't a pressure. It was a unforced error.
It certainly was.
So the first 2 go in for Canada, and The miss there means the peel of the corner.
Usually reliable Jill Officer on clearing shots. Makes a perfect clear. And now Anna Hasselborg. See all those stones lined right up along the center line. Yellow stones belong to Canada. Agnes Knockenhauer will look to drive her own stone back into the pile. Not a brush on it. Clips the top one.
Opens it up, just a couple stones in play now.
Yeah, not a bad shot.
Like there?
Tight top 12 kind of thing. So this is Fortiston probably, eh? I think so.
Like Malik, top 12, Malik. Get tight, okay. Top 12 is ideal.
It's fine. Got it. Alltså, men jag trodde att de var så här. Vilka corner?
Tight. Okay. Line's good. Tight if anything. Tight. Repeat.
Well, saw in Canada's last game, it was the team without the hammer that really dictated the play in most ends. Canada was able to get a deuce out of Skip Stones to be the only scorer 2 with the hammer in that game. Here, this one over curls, and
Yep, here's the opportunity that Sweden was looking for. 2 guards are stacked now, and the stone in the house is available. There's Swedish coach Maria Prytz.
was in the gold medal game in Sochi against Jennifer Jones, lost that final. Of course, the 4th stone thrower for Margareta Sigfridsson. Sweden hasn't won a women's world championship since 2011.
They sure won a lot of them before that, Luke. But it has been a few years.
And that was Annette Norberg, and this team's trying to join Annette Norberg if they can win an Olympics and a Worlds in the same season.
A long history of successful women's teams from Sweden. Think about the curling surgeon, the great Elizabeth Gustafsson, multiple world champion.
A mistake there, just chips that one in, and Canada can draw in line too. So
yeah, early nerves, and you can just see on the expression there of Anna Hasselborg, just not quite in sync here yet tonight. They usually play with an air of real confidence, but they're making uncharacteristic errors here early in the game. Reminds me a little bit of the expressions that were on the face of her countryman Nicholas Edin in the gold medal game in Korea. So dominant, but just not going quite their way, but it's only the 3rd end.
now top of the 8-foot goes that Canadian yellow stone.
Just feels like it's one of those situations for Sweden, Luke, where they need one big shot to ignite them. It just hasn't come yet. Good hit and roll.
Yeah, nothing crazy, just a good
shot to really put the heat on and force a miss from their opponents and build something.
So it was just one in the first, but it was a miss by Jennifer Jones. It was a missed draw by Hasselborg in the second.
That's right. Sarah McManus now trying to make that go shot.
I'll get by the front, let it roll away.
We see Sarah McManus. Anna Hasselborg having a chat with Agnes Knockenhauer. Stone just fully open for Caitlin Laws. Well by the guards, just a nose.
And that's all Canada really wants to do, try and get the force, just trade shots back and forth. Both these teams had a few close games, both beating Korea, who sit right behind them along with Russia and those 3 and 4 seeds. Both these teams will play Russia tomorrow in their round robin portion.
Let's see if Sarah McManus can roll her stone either behind cover or away from danger. Hasselborg was looking for the outside roll there, but it rolls about one rockwood.
Do we ever draw? Probably not, eh? Hit roll to the center
Yeah,
line.
bite the center line.
Jennifer Jones had a look at it for a minute and said, well, if we're shot, maybe we just draw, but that's really an unnecessary risk. We can hit and roll, and lie two, and one behind cover, and that would certainly bring the force right to the front of the page.
Just roll to bite the center would be great.
Coach's bench is in the background. There's the view from Caitlin Laws. Down the ice, holding the target for her skip, Jennifer Jones.
And if we roll a rock,
What kind of speed are you throwing?
just a 10.
Okay.
Jennifer Jones, Team Canada trying to go back-to-back for the Canadian side. They won it last year, but before that, it had been 2008 was the last World Championship prior to that for Team Canada.
Little inside roll, chokes off the axis around the guards, and decision time now for Anna Hasselborg. Do you chase the shot and go for a roll, or do you draw around?
Not surprised to see the indication of the draw here for the Swedes.
Yeah, I think it's the right call despite the missed draw in the first end. Go with your bread and butter, and Anna Hasselborg generally very strong on her draws.
Borde hämta lite kanske. Jag gillar det där. Man ser inte hela, jag menar. Svårt läge.
Could come around the outturn side as well, but electing the intern. I mean, she's going to flirt a little bit more with that stone in the front 12 foot. The net result, from her perspective, be a harder stone for Jennifer Jones to make a play on.
Lite mindre! Kanske bara typ 10. Jag gillar det. Jag tror fan mindre, Sara!
Small adjustment on the target line.
Bra linje! Jättefin linje! Bra fart! 8-4! Kom igen! Bak 4!
Worried a little bit about the line early in the shot, but they seem okay with it now. Well by.
Yeah, just trying to manage it now. You want to try and take it a little bit deeper if you can to get it
Want to get some cover.
behind. But you also didn't want to take it too deep that a freeze makes it tough to score.
Well, that's true.
Fan också.
Little panic sweep early, tracked it out a little bit wide. Close to the guard, but a lot of clearance. Comes to rest just in the back of the button.
You guys like the freeze, I think so, eh?
so.
The run is pretty tight.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the, I like the draw.
tight.
So you probably have to move it half an inch to get shot.
Okay.
So just sweep for the T line. I had a 13-8 on that.
Yeah, 59. 14.
So it's close, eh?
Yeah.
Great conversation there between Jennifer Jones and her teammates. She said, we considered the run, but it's the freeze and just locking in the weight. She said 13-8. That's the split time that they're talking about between the hog lines. She said, we have to move it half an inch to get shot. All the information that the sweepers need about distance. Caitlin Law says he's got lots of room. Well past the guard. And I think Sweden is still lying one. Going to have a closer look at it here. We'll zoom right in for you.
Looks
Yes,
like it is.
indeed. Red Rock belongs to Sweden. Yep, Jennifer Jones said, sorry about that. I was calling you on. Caitlin was calling you off. Caitlin was right.
that anticipation, you're expecting it, and sometimes try and do too much and with the line call and wait from the other end.
Yeah.
Can try.
Yeah,
Out-turn draw to the buttons, no walk in the park, but could try and come down and move that.
Yeah, I think out-turn is absolutely the play here, Luke. Come in, turn 2 inches heavy. Maybe you give up a steal. Come out, turn, you're 2 inches heavy, you still score.
What'd you get on that? 14-1. Yeah, it's less than I wanted to show, like that 13-8 kind of.
Going to have to draw around the pile of guards in the front of our screen and get all the way to the pin to score 2.
Ja, lite mer tror jag. Okej. Men nästan samma. Ja.
Well, they are going this way, try and get that extra point. Lying one right now.
It should absolutely curl enough. Have to get it by the guards. Have to get it past that red one. They're by it.
All up to the
Now it has to
sweepers now.
stop.
Catch the button, curl in.
Well,
I think it rolled off. I think it's one.
One for sure. One for sure. The stone at the back. Yeah, we're hearing him say one for sure. They're agreeing. It is just a single point. That close. Entertaining end of curling, Luke, but it's only a single point.
So Canada gets the hammer back and the 1 point lead.
Having a look across the sheets here and keep you up to date. Russia, Germany all tied up at 1 on sheet A. Japan leading Italy 2-1 on sheet B. And China with a 3-2 lead over Scotland on sheet C in our feature match. Canada 2-1 up with the hammer, playing 4.
Well, crowds had a few things to get excited about here tonight.
Yeah,
Waiting for
accordions.
that. We've got an accordion in the building. I don't think I've seen that one before. I don't think the players have as we look at tournament numbers so far. Sophia Maberg's 89%.
It's pretty handy.
I don't know if he's taking requests or not on the accordion.
Yeah, well, it's accordion player is here to support Team Italy tonight, and so that's somehow fitting. They're all decked out in the Italian colors. Real international flavor here in North Bay this week. Fans from all around the world here to support their teams. It's fantastic.
We saw the nicknames for the Korean girls and pictures earlier today up on the railing in front of the seats. We see Dawn McEwen, 84%.
Yes, Team Kim that became international stars, in particular in their home nation of South Korea during the Olympics. And fans around the world now know their nicknames: Steak and Pancake and Annie and Sunny and Chocho.
Well, around the center line guard. So
Yep. Good nice, Dawn. Not a girl.
This should be interesting, Luke. Plays coming around the center now, and Anna Hasselborg immediately saying, let's play the freeze. So mixed doubles time, really. Game on. Pile them up around the center guard.
Well, we know if they're not set up, Canada's going to play that run, the run back in second stones as soon as they can.
Don't want to bounce this one. They'd like to just freeze in front of it. Corner freezes it. Yep, that's what I thought. Jennifer Jones says, okay, you do that. Just T-line wait. Small tap would be great, she says. One of these ends where you get the sense it's who's going to blink first. Try to make it more and more uncomfortable for each other. Good weight, but not enough curl there for Dawn McEwen. Leaves the Swedish stone wedged between the two Canadian stones.
No sit makes them both go away.
And Hasselborg lining it up for Agnes Knockenhauer. She could even come a little bit across nose and get a tiny flop behind the center. 90% so far for the tournament for Agnes. Just left that one a little bit late. Little greedy there, going for that inside roll. It over curls. Moves the stones off the forefoot, but leaves the Canadian stones in the rings. Sweden lying one, but it's behind the tee line.
I don't think we want to stay there. I'd like to roll. Okay. Here.
Well, rock placement is important in controlling in that forefoot zone, and we've seen lots of trouble happen when they go deep. That one obviously after a hit, spilling that one away. 87% for Jill Officer.
Off. Like bump. Yes, 11. Yes, hard.
You guys are saying, I just didn't know. But sorry. Sorry, guys. 11.
Sits right there. Anna Hasselborg saying, okay, around the horn. Double takeout. Oh, and by the way, roll forward and to the left, up behind the corner guard.
The old back it up shot.
Yeah. Fair to say this one will probably be moving pretty quickly from Agnes Knockenhauer.
Got to hit the right angles, get that spin.
Well, that's how she drew it up. Didn't make the double, but rolled right behind cover. Great shot.
That was a good alternative. I think they were trying to make the double and spin it up. Ends up sliding across to lie. Shot stone.
Red stones both half covered behind that front red guard. Only guard out there. Jill Officer.
Yep. Go for it. Hard. 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 Whoa. Hard. Hard to feel it. Go, go, go.
Well, all over the front.
Yep. Pushes the Swedish stone into the rings as well. It's going to hang around on the side of the 12-foot.
So we've seen some mistakes from both teams, uncharacteristic ones from both sides so far in this game.
Yeah, that's indicative of the pressure that I'm sure both of them are feeling. They know how big this game is for both of them. They can figure it out. They know this is one of the opponents that they could be facing in the playoff round. So maybe that pressure is wearing on both of them a little bit, Luke. You know that both of them would really like to make a statement tonight with a strong performance. Good news, at least for Canada. Guard is out of the way. Sarah McManus, 89% for the week.
The entire team is top. They're 89 as a team.
That's amazingly consistent, top to bottom on this Swedish team. Sweden lies 2.
Yeah, throw it hard. Throw it hard. I think just at 8, though. I'd like to stay.
So firm? Or 8, I mean, yeah.
By 8, they're talking about the velocity that Caitlin Laws is going to throw at this one. Jennifer Jones saying, I'd like to keep the stone in the rings. So this will be pretty firm, but it will not be vapor trail kind of weight.
85% for Caitlin Laws. Make the double.
Stuffs it.
Leaves that one in the 4-foot.
Sweden still lying 2.
Nice throw.
Sweden is going to remove the stone. On the tee line, Sarah McManus now. Trying to control the roll. Just pops out a fraction too much. That was really close to perfect. Still very good.
Shot, same weight. 3/4.
Let's try and slam this yellow straight back into the other 2.
We heard Jennifer say 3/4. She wants to go slightly on the high side, drive it on a little bit of an angle, still make the double, but probably roll her shooter off into the side of the 12-foot if she could.
No roll, Bill. No roll. No roll.
Just not getting that jump on these stones in the house. They just aren't bouncing like they have been.
That one we needed to sweep.
Yeah, the house,
Just a little thinner.
Yeah,
we've been accustomed to seeing rocks jumping around like pinballs, but houses aren't that lively here in North Bay. It seems anyways. Pushes that stone out to the back of the 8-foot. Sweden with a chance to make a pass. Ease it through the rings and leave themselves lying 3.
Ja, nej 9. Var säker 9. 9-0. Jag hade 8.
Sara, det var 9-0.
Vad lirar du då?
Vi spelar 9-7-10.
Ja.
Vicka lite grann va? Åt höger.
Ja.
Kändes som ett helt okej spår va?
Right on the nose, the to lie 3. 87% for Hasselborg in the tournament.
Waiting for it to curl, trying to keep it in 3rd shot position. It does. Opens up the shot in the back of the 8-foot, but Sweden is lying 3. So how aggressive does Canada go?
I'm going to say,
Got it.
3.5.
I think they'll play fairly aggressive, knowing that there's nothing on the center line, no guards out in front. It was a skip's deuce that really got Canada going in their last game in a win against Korea.
Canada does have the hammer here in 4.
You can be right to it or you can just be
Somewhere close to it.
Just locking in the weights. Will be a draw. Got to sit in front of the Swedish stone. Dominic Ewan asking, do you want to freeze it or do you just want to sit in front of it? Jennifer Jones at 81% for the tournament says
It's a little late to me, Joe.
just close.
Line's good. Gotta go. Line only. Gotta go. Never off.
worried more about the line than the weight. They think it's over curling. Well swept. That early sweep saved that one, Luke. Otherwise, it's crashing that yellow one at the top.
I can't remember many stones that they haven't been on in this game so far, especially with Jennifer Jones stones.
Yeah, the physiotherapists and the recoveries and the ice bags will be in full force tonight.
And this is the middle of a three consecutive games for Canada, afternoon, evening, morning.
Yeah. See there, it's got some cover. One of the so coming so close to that top one is a little bit of protection there. So Anna Hasselborg will have to be pretty surgical with this one to pick it out.
And she can get away with hitting that back one too. She's first or second. Yeah, she's third and fourth shot as well right now.
She can lose the back one, but she has to get a pretty good chunk of it. Big weight.
Well, make that yellow go away.
Oh, so close to that top stone.
Jams that one, but gets away with it. And that's why it was okay. You can get away with hitting that back one. Can nose that.
I'm not sure that she didn't touch this stone going by, Luke. It was so close. Oh, wow. If it feathers that top one, disaster.
Yeah, it did, but it did finish.
Yeah, you had light weight.
I had 10.5 though too.
Yeah. Right on the nose.
Well, you know, deuces are going to be tough in big games like this. Jennifer Jones now still need to secure your single with this open hit.
Solid 10.
Oh, then solid, no. Off. Clean.
Weight's good. Weight's good.
Clean.
Clean, something you love to hear as a sweeper.
You're good.
Right down to it on the nose, and Canada will score, and a single point it is. So they gain the 2-point lead. We are through 4 ends. Sweden trails Canada 3-1. Well, just singles on the board so far in our feature game. Sweden and Canada bringing you live coverage from the North Bay Memorial Gardens. Luke Ole, Hans Frauenlob. As we start things off, it is Don McEwen, Team Canada, try and force Sweden down by 2. Would love to get that deuce and tie things up.
Right on the pin, nice shot.
Well, Sophia Mabergs put the corner guard up. Sweden will try and get into play behind the corner again. Canada will try and dictate play to the center. See the cat and mouse game continue throughout here in this one.
Corner guard is set. Going to script so far after 2 shots. Not that she's currently thinking about anything else other than winning the World Championship this week, but Canadian skip Jennifer Jones is going to go from North Bay, and next week will be competing in the Canadian Mixed Doubles Championship with her husband Brent Lang. A lot of curling.
And they have 2 kids as well, nothing to keep them busy.
Busy lives.
They'll also have 2 World Curling Tour events to wrap up the season as well after this. While trying to freeze that one, they'll end up chipping the front, knowing that was the tolerance.
Just nudging it off the center line.
9.5.
Sweden hasn't had any really what I would call easy opportunities to score too. They're having to really force the action. They're usually drawing against 2 or 3, trying to hide behind less than ideal guards. So Anna Hasselborg, so far in this game anyways, really having to scrap for it. It's not coming easy. You wouldn't expect it to be against this unbeaten Canadian team.
Yeah, both high plus minus. Sweden plus 32 points for and against. Canada plus 33 coming in.
Knockenhauer trying to thread the needle here.
Doesn't get the roll, sits in the 4-foot. Still open between those 2 yellow Canadian stones.
I think he'll probably throw a little more on this one. Yeah. 9.5. Yeah.
Yep. No, whoa. I see her. Perfect. Whoa. Yes. Hard. Whoa. Yep, roll
A
it,
hit, try and roll a little bit behind themselves.
Great
Very
shot.
nice.
Nearly fully buried. Hasselborg says, yep, that's too good. Make a play on the front stones.
Yeah, and all Sweden's waiting for, you make this and maybe a hit and roll away, hit and roll open. You can try and use that corner guard.
Yeah, they haven't been able to use it at all. Set it on the first stone of the end, and it's been sitting there waiting for business ever since. Nope, nothing doing there. Going to leave the Canadian stone on the rings to boot. Well, it just creeps off. Small consolation. Uncharacteristically sloppy here from Sweden in the first half of this game, Luke.
Yeah, they have been a little bit off.
Stone's just off the rings.
And we say that they're just down 3-1 in the game with the hammer.
No, they're very much in the game, there's no doubt, but not displaying that customary efficiency and sharpness that we're used to seeing.
Little light, Jen. Halfway. Line's good. Sweep for tight. Needs the finish here, Dawn. You got to switch. Got to fully cross. Partner. Sweep's not bad. Gotta go.
Calling for the sweepers to switch. Jennifer Jones says we need this stone to curl.
Yep.
Asking Jill Officer to move to the high side of the stone to try and promote a little extra curl on the draw. Well swept.
Well, another one. They will have made a lot of shots already for their back end. Caitlin Laws, Jennifer Jones.
I'm sure if you talk to Jill and Don, they said no problem. We'll keep getting them in places where we need them to be. That's what we're here for. Front end sweepers generally take great pride in their ability to make shots for their team just for their sweeping ability.
Well, another one hit very similarly to the previous one.
Yeah, just not in sync here tonight, Team Sweden. Ice reads are just not on.
I thought maybe they'd go up and go get rid of that corner guard, make it say bye, bye, bye.
Yeah, Anna Hasselborg having a game plan in mind, and you're right, Luke, and there's no real reason to leave the corner guard there, but Jennifer Jones sensing the moment here and perhaps getting the idea that you got your opponents a little bit wobbly, keep the heat on. If you can get a steal in this and go 3 up at the break, that would be outstanding.
Needs to stop. Real good. Good.
It's perfect. So confused. Good.
Tough to guard on this ice because the stones do finish really aggressively at the last 4 or 5 feet of the trip. Might be just a sliver of it available, but Anna Hasselborg not even looking at making a play on the stone in the rings. Asking Sarah McManus to run back the center stone.
Well, they've had multiple cracks at it already. They're going to try another one.
Yeah, just going to keep going to the well. Well still dry.
Well, leaves the shooter out in front now, too. So there's an extra stone making it messier.
Yeah, I didn't like that call at all. It's easy to say after the shot's missed, but in a situation now where you've got last rock, that was a good guard. It wasn't a perfect guard. There was a chance to make a play on that stone in the 4-foot. Elected instead to try the run back, and now look at all those stones in front of the rings.
Well, it's a lot of wait, and then the sweepers go at the end.
Yeah.
Jennifer Jones skips stones.
Old school curling, but it works. Get a stone in a good place. Guard it up, guard it well. Sweepers love the weight. Sweeping that last little bit for that tiny little bit of finish.
Canada still lying 1-2. That nibbler at the top, the one in the 4-foot though.
Is there a play now for Anna Hasselborg on the intern side?
16.
Again, not even looking at it. Seem fixated on this run back, Luke.
Well, you missed this one. You may have to play your red. Try and tap it up or angle it in.
Yeah. It looks to me like there's a play on the intern side around the center guard, between the red guard and the yellow guard to get to the shot rock, but Hasselborg's going to run back the center. If it was her own stone in the front running it back, I would have less of a problem with this. But she's running back your opponent's stone. Risk of a jam.
Well, needs to make one of these. Again,
0 for 5.
Get in this chase mode, and sometimes you need to try something different. It hasn't worked. Mix it up. But been caught in that spot. Jones puts up a good guard. It's going to be difficult to score.
Even if she makes it, Luke, Jennifer Jones is just going to duck around. She's going to force you.
Higher. I don't want her to be able to chase it.
Now, if you're Canada, do you want to bite the rings?
Well, that's not necessary. You're lying 2 already. It's more about the line. If you're going to show her any part of the rock, you'd like to show her the right-hand side as we're looking at on the overhead. But she just threw this guard. It's
Line's good.
same
Sorry.
shot, really.
Hard. Hard, hard, hard.
No,
Hard, go,
Jennifer
go,
thinks
go,
she's
go,
a little
go,
bit
go,
narrow
go,
this time.
Go, go.
Keep on. Keep her going. Keep it sliding. Hard, Dawn. Go. Go, go, go. Keep it going. Keep it going.
They want to cross center line with this one.
Go, 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 go.
Well, that's
But a
still,
very long one.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that's a mistake from Jones. Really long guard, so shot rock should be playable for Hasselborg.
18. Okay.
At least half of it available.
And such a long guard.
Exactly. McEwen and officer calling for the oxygen. They've worked really hard tonight.
Kommer ner liksom.
They'll earn that fifth end break coming up after this.
Perfect time for it, really, from their perspective. There's a great look at it.
10 styck kommer ju ner lite. Men jag tror
Half of it.
det var helt okej nu. Ja. Kör också. 90. Ja, lite till. Ja, kosta lite.
Final stone here of this fifth end for Anna Hasselborg.
Yep. 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 Done it.
Well, see what Knockenhauer Maberts can do. Get by the front,
She's wrecking.
and they'll crash. And that's not just a steal of one. It is a steal of two for Canada. And now a 5-1 lead at the break.
The game's running away from Anna Hasselborg tonight. Uncharacteristic errors. Steal of two for Canada. Firmly in control at the halfway point.
That's the over hog line. So you'd have to sneak to like halfway.
Ja.
Well, first half of this battle of unbeaten, Sweden and Canada, and Jennifer Jones opportunity, draw for two in the first end. And just has to hit the rings. Caitlin Laws out to help. But this one will not get far enough as Jennifer Jones pulls the string, and it's only one. Second end, good end put together by the Canadian side. Have the force and the in-turn draw for Anna Hasselborg,
Ja, you've got.
drawing down. And this one will slide too deep, and it is a steal of one for Canada. Just the third steal against Sweden this week. And the third end opportunity has to hit the button for Anna Hasselborg. You don't get many opportunities against these good teams to get an extra point, and this one real close. Needs to curl up, slow down, curl up, slow down to the button. Chips, rolls off. They look, and just a single point for Sweden with the hammer. And then N5, it was Sweden chasing. Finally has an opening after a guard under curls for Canada. And what does Sweden do? They touch the front, crash on the guards, bring that biter into play as well, and another steal. 2 in the first half of this game, as many as they've given up in their previous 8 games. And a 5-1 lead for Canada halfway through.
So the first real outburst of negative emotion from Anna Hasselborg after that miss, Luke, banging her brush on the ice. It's very uncharacteristic, normally a really calm demeanor, but she knows it's really on her tonight. She's not playing well.
Yeah, they got into that chase position in that 5th end and just never seemed to get out of it. Well, the other scores here in session 14, the last of the day. Russia leading Germany 2-1, a low-scoring affair. Well, Japan has the hammer in 6, up 1 against Italy. China, Scotland, all knotted up at 3. 5-1 our score. Actually, an update, Scotland just stole 3 in the 5th end to go up 6-3 over China.
Boom.
And we'll look at the numbers through 5. An overall percentage, not a big advantage for the Canadian side. Draw percentage advantage for Sweden, 81-73, but the hits, 79-67% for Canada. 3 stolen points.
That's the key stat.
Only 2 of the game came via the steal. As I said, only 2 steals so far against Sweden in 8 games. And they've given up 2 in this game. And really unforced.
Yeah.
Canada could have put more pressure on them for the steal in that 5th end.
That's the surprising thing. You're exactly right, Luke. On the first steal, Anna Hasselborg had the 8-foot to draw to, throws it into the back 12-foot. And then in 5, could see half the stone on a attempted hit and all over the center guard. So you're absolutely right. Unforced errors.
Well, Canada knew coming into today, they came into today 6-0. They knew they had Korea and Sweden, 2 Olympic medalists. They try to battle through. Just it was a hard-fought game against Korea. Try to shelve that, you get that win, knowing you're a little more comfortable because you're 2 games ahead of them, 3 really because of the tiebreaker, and now you're playing Sweden. A win here, you're in golden position to be one of those top 2 teams into the playoffs.
Absolutely. If you're Canada, you win this game, you're playing with house money. You're pretty much a lock to be the top seed. Certainly a mortal lock to be in the top 2. And in this year's playoff format, that's a great place to be.
Those top 2 teams, as you said, Hans, will go straight to the semifinals. 3 through 6 will play in 2 quarterfinals to advance to the semis. Canada and Sweden haven't officially clinched their spots, but when looking at the standings, it would take a complete collapse by both of those sides to not be into the top 6.
That's absolutely right, Luke. And no page playoff. Once the teams reach the playoff stages, it's win and advance, or lose and watch.
Well, 80% on the game for Dawn McEwen. A pair that she'd probably like to have back. She won that first one, top 4. It goes just biting, then goes deep in the rings.
What is Anna Hasselborg thinking? What would Maria Pritz have put into her ear at halftime?
Well, their demeanor's been very constant, very even-keeled throughout the last couple months, and it's all just, we just got to stay in the moment. We just got to keep focused on what we're doing. Can't let other distractions. There's had lots of things taking up their time between the Olympics and here. Make sure they practice, get out on the ice, do your thing. There's a lot of demand for your time when you become an Olympic gold medalist.
Well, I wouldn't know, Luke, but I'm sure that's true.
That's what I've been told. I obviously don't have any myself. Part of the reason why on the men's side, the U.S. Olympic gold medal winning team. As we see the numbers for Jill Officer there, 86 for the tournament, 75 on the game. They actually had so many things. They had to step away, didn't play in their nationals, and they won't be the U.S. team. It'll be Greg Persinger's rink for the USA in Vegas coming up in a week.
Nice shot there by Jill Officer. Things going Canada's way so far in this game. Little overlap though, chance for Sweden to duck around.
And this is the type of game Canada plays very well. They're solid at getting up and front running.
Yeah.
Especially with, then you can use the real asset that Jill Officer is. You see with Sweden, with Knockenhauer, when they get up, she's a weapon that they can get locked and loaded and play the big way shots.
That's right. Sarah McManus as well can throw the big weight. So exactly right, Luke. Both of these teams are hard to catch with the lead. It's Canada with the lead and a handy one here. So I'm going to come all the way to the back stone, slightly over curl. Quite sure that Jennifer Jones will get something in front of it.
She didn't seem happy that they had to play the freeze.
No.
More stones in play, the better for Sweden right now.
Yeah, that's true. Just the one Swedish stone in the rings. Canada can start playing the scoreboard a little bit. They've got a 4-point lead. They'll never be happy dropping twos. But you can be certain that they won't be getting themselves into a situation where they could drop 3. This one has got a bit of heat on it. It's got a bit of curling to do, Luke.
It needs to hit a bit of a wall.
That one's still going. Jill Officer heavy on that attempt by a good 10 feet.
See if Sweden can take advantage now.
Yeah, essential for Sweden that they punish every mistake that they get, because they won't get many of them. And Agnes Knockenhauer, opportunity to do just that. Tuck around those guards, sit in front of the tee line. Tons of room, nowhere near the guards.
Well, I've seen a few stones now in this path, and they couldn't really afford to do any sweeping with it. It sits wide open.
Yeah, not punishing the mistake. They are lying too, but it's wide open. Caitlin Laws, 78% for tonight, 85 for the week. A little inside roll. Just anticipated more break than I think they're going to get. They all seem to be fooled by this intern side. Looking for more break, but just straightened out there at the end on Caitlin Laws.
It's actually an interesting spot now, because you got to get to the inside. You can't have it hang out.
It's true.
You know that you might let Jen and Team Canada try and play that double.
Sarah McManus. No, no, says Sarah. Now they're onto it.
Well, hit, roll.
That's a better shot for Sweden.
And Sweden lying 1-2 now.
Jones immediately saying run back time.
Well, this would get rid of the stagger if you make this as well.
Half rolls off. Firm.
Remember, this is where a peel rolled to for Jill Officer. Oh, narrowly misses clipping that back red. Don't think it was leaving the house.
Nice shot by Caitlin Laws. Sweden still lying 1.
Well, trying to slash that one over. Hoping maybe a hair thinner and they could disturb those back ones.
It looked like it curled, but I guess we needed
Maybe,
it to,
but
you
I
know,
think you're
like
right, Luke. I think the first instinct from Jennifer Jones was
fast here.
hit a third of it and just spring off the center line a little bit and then open it up. So that stone over curls. Leaves the guard sitting right on the center line for Sweden, and still a chance here for them to get around it. Nockenhauer, Mabergs. Certainly not coming around.
Well, that one, they lost. Again, more mistakes than we're used to seeing from this team. The first question that I'm sure they'll hear is, well, have you guys, were you tired? Has it hit a wall? It's that.
Yeah. They've been getting that question all week from everybody, including me.
You sort of wait between them and the Korean side. When are you,
So just full
are we
forward.
going to
Like,
see
I
him
don't think we need to be too
hit that low where you just physically,
This looks
mentally,
like
you're
it's
just
as good as the-
exhausted?
at the outturn coming here.
Really hard to sustain excellence for months on end. Just a little wayward tonight. Still line one. Jennifer Jones has to be pretty precise with this one. Lowish percentage for her, but
She had that complete miss in the first, so that's a 0, so that'll definitely bring him down. She'll curl 68% every day if it means you're up 5-1
just going to say
in the
there's only,
sixth end.
it's a cliche, but there's only one statistic that matters, and that's the scoreboard. And that's a great looking shot right here. Perfect. Still a chance for Sweden to get their pair. It is behind the tee line, so Anna Hasselborg.
Well, as they do that, quick update. Japan gets 4 in the sixth end against Italy. Japan at 3-4, still in that playoff contention. Win there, they move to 4-4 against Italy, who's at 2-6. They have to win out and get some help in order to bring 6 losses into play. So 7-2 there.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on all the games here for you. 4 games in action tonight here at the North Bay Memorial Gardens. Yeah, any team that's got 4 or less losses right now are still thinking we're in it. 7-5 is probably the magic number that will assure you a place in the final 6. 55% tonight for Anna Hasselborg. 86% for the tournament, 30% below her tournament average tonight.
Good draw, try and set up your 2. That one just gets around.
So tight to that top one.
Oh, very nice.
Very good shot.
Well, it's going to force Jennifer Jones to make a perfect freeze. Otherwise, there's going to be a freeze to, or a draw to score 2.
A little determination and anger in that fist pump of Anna Hasselborg's with her teammates. She's trying to fire herself up here.
You get a deuce,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden it's a 2-point game.
Absolutely. She's up for the fight. Really angry at herself, I think, for the first half, and trying to take that responsibility on, saying, okay, first half's on me, but the second half's going to be on me too. I'm going to play great. It's exactly what you'd expect from an Olympic champion. Challenge for her is, this is an Olympic champion as well. Jennifer Jones.
Well, I said hard right away.
Waiting for it to curl.
Trying to say.
Don't think it's going to curl enough.
That's what they didn't want to do. Chips rolls off. They said anywhere short, it's a tough deuce.
So, earlier in the game, Anna Hasselborg had a difficult but makeable draw to the button to score 2.
Okay, then. That's what I was thinking.
In the immortal words of Yogi Berra, it is deja vu all
Thought if
over
anything,
again.
I was a bit soft, and I thought I was a bit lighter. So.
Yeah, I didn't mind getting behind you there.
Chance for Hasselborg to draw full 4 foot. This is an easier one, relatively speaking, than the draw earlier in the match.
Yeah,
Full
she
in
had
the
to
red.
get pinhole almost to get 2 there.
Around a pile, so only needs 4 foot this time. Not an easy shot, but a stone that she just threw. Same path. It's in the hands of Knockenhauer and Mabergs now. No problem with the guard this time. It's all about the weight.
Oh, they do. Can't come down to it. Don't want to chip roll off. Come down, chip off their own and roll away. And
oh, just hanging on. I think they're going to look at it, Luke.
I think it does.
One for sure. I think it's 2, but just.
We might see them measure this one.
I think they might. They are going to call for the measure.
1 for sure, yeah.
Little extra drama as if we needed any more.
Well, nervous look in the crowd watching that one.
What a beautiful reaction. Sarah McManus taking a look. Careful not to touch the stone, Sarah. Got the official coming then on the ice now to figure that one out. That's exactly right, Jennifer. I was thinking the exact same thing. Jennifer Jones saying, all you got to do is sweep that one a little bit. It comes to ours. It's an easy 2 because she clips the Canadian stone. It just flips a little bit to the outside, and now it's a measure. Let's see if we can get our eye on the needle here and play official at home. Bit hard with the reflection of the light. It is red. It's a score of 2 for Sweden.
Just asking for another one, which they are entitled to.
Oh dear, oh dear. All right, we'll do it again.
I like this. I like that they reset it here when they do it again. They'll tighten it up a little bit more so it moves a bit more.
Oh.
Umpire gets a little extra work there, but it is a deuce and
a big one too.
5-3 now after 6 ends of play.
I'm gonna was it?
Let's catch you up on the scores in the other games. On sheet A, Russia 2-1 over Germany. On sheet B, Japan with a big 7-2 lead over Italy. On sheet C, Scotland with a 6-3 lead over China. In our feature game, Canada leading at 5-3 after 7. With play in the 7th end. Sophia Marburg is getting us underway in the 7th. Live curling action here from North Bay. Ford World Women's Curling Championship 2018. And a huge deuce for Team Sweden. Trailing by 4, they've closed it up. They're down 2. Center guard.
Do we see 2 center line guards now at this point from Sweden? Do they go all out to try and?
I think so. And they know that they're going to have to really claw and scratch everything they possibly can and gamble a little bit. Even though they've closed it up to within 2. I think it's one of those situations, Luke, where you play for the steal, and if you get the force, you get the force. And if you wind up dropping a 2 or 3 in the process, it's only because you've really been going for it.
We see that from teams, especially in this type of scenario where you go after it.
It is going to be the second guard. Team Hasselborg knows exactly what Team Jones can do. Sure that Jennifer Jones would have been one of the younger Anna Hasselborg's idols as she was learning to play. She'll have been watching Jennifer Jones all of her curling life anyways.
Well, she's been around the game. Obviously, she's got lots of family in it as well. Her dad, Mikhail, Uncle Stefan, brother Marcus, all good curlers in their own right, but she's got one on all of them now, that Olympic gold medal.
Certainly does. The family Hasselborg, a very well-known name and international curling distinguished players of real skill and class. This one is going up short, so the stones are nicely stacked in the center for Team Sweden to use.
Oh, that was a big one. Wrap one in there, get it in a good position, knowing Canada will start peeling.
Nockenhauer. That last stone of Canada just came sitting right on top of the Swedish stone that is aimed directly at the button as well. So once Canada starts clearing, they're going to have to take some care not to rocket a Swedish stone into the scoring zone.
Oh, they're looking, I think, just to freeze it on top. That one coming up short. That spot with the intern.
Interesting.
Seen 2 now back to back.
See what happens. Hit it hard. Something's going to happen. As long as you get at least
2.
Yeah, and well, I was going to say 3/4 contact. Obviously, you don't want to throw it by and miss everything. Wants to hit it on the brush side. One thing we know about Jill Officer, she can move granite.
The big extension and rotation for Jill Officer.
Players sprinting to catch it.
Okay, good, Jill. Real good.
She works out not bad, moving them all around and kicks that one red in.
And importantly, from the perspective of Jennifer Jones, that's why she was so pleased with it. Everything is off the center line now, except for the stones in the rings. All the guards are off the center line. Nice shot.
Agnes Nockenhauer.
Very gently out of the hack, which indicates it's a guard. Sweden patiently building up the front. Guarding their second shot rock. That's a stone they know they can go around later in the end if they get the chance. Officer.
Oh, look at that double peel across the top.
Good one.
Jill Officer, and that clears up the center line quite a bit.
Much tidier from a Canadian perspective. Nice shot. Smile from Jill. Job well done. Sarah McManus quickly
Håll ute!
out of the hack.
Bra linje! Helt ner! Samma linje nu! Bra fart! Meter!
Neither team have used their timeout yet.
Meter! Bara sitta! Bara sitta! Måste sitta! Måste sitta där.
Long, long center guard.
Ja.
Jennifer Jones now seeing the opportunity to deal to that Swedish stone in the front 12.
I just want to make sure we roll. Here's 5.
So remove that one. The guard very long out front.
Go big. Stop! No! No pressure.
Positive release there from Caitlin Laws.
Yes! Hard! Hard!
Trying to roll the other way. It's a nice shot.
That was like a 9, I think.
So rolls Canada lies 2. Does it leave a bit of a stagger?
Yeah,
It'll
I
be
think
tough
it
to
was
draw
a 9.
behind them, but if they ever got one behind those 2.
Maybe in between. Yeah.
They are quite far forward in the house, so there would definitely be a chance to get behind them for Sweden if they get the opportunity.
I just don't know how you get there.
Yeah, you could come around the wide side. You'd have to go up to the boards really to get around it.
Bra linje! Bra linje! Fri fart! 4!
We've seen good movement on the come arounds, but nothing radical. We haven't seen stones snapping sideways or anything like that.
Kan vi gå något? Nej, nej,
The
nej.
stone coming into the 8
Bra,
foot
Sara.
behind that long guard. Pretty good shot.
Still able to get through that center line port.
Yeah, that's the
Here.
challenge for that guard being quite a long way from the house. And here's the difference, I think, between the teams tonight, Luke. Jennifer Jones in this opportunity sees a corner and says to Caitlin, let's make a play at it. Earlier in the game, we saw Hannah Hasselborg 4 or 5 times trying runbacks in this situation.
Whoa! Hard! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Hard!
Got to get past the front, get by. Right to the nose, and Canada lies 3 now. They were a little tense early in the afternoon. They got a great score of 2, and that seemed to jumpstart. They've really carried momentum from that win earlier today into this game.
Yeah, playing very well. Perfect control of the weight there from Caitlin Laws.
Makes this.
Hans, do you find if you carry on a win in an afternoon, does it help you in the next game sometimes?
It can do, especially when you know that your opponent in that game is one that you're kind of expected to have a really tough game against. So if you get a game earlier in the day, have a nice one,
My bad.
you actually want to get right back on the ice and keep it going. And if you can keep it going against a tough opponent, so much the better. Canada definitely doing that tonight. Hasselborg looking for the roll behind cover. Gonna catch it thin though, gonna pop out the other side.
Well, that's real difficult to actually do, to hit it that thin and roll to that spot. But they do to sit wide open. Canada lying 2nd and 3rd, and hit to lie 3.
The red danger lights are flashing really bright now for Sweden. Canada's got the hammer here in the 7th. Jennifer Jones can remove this stone and get behind cover. Anna Hasselborg will have I was going to say an impossible shot, but an incredibly difficult shot to avoid dropping 3, maybe 4. This may be the decisive shot of the game coming up right here. If Jones can hit and roll, get behind cover, could be a match winner. Going to get a little bit of an inside roll.
Maybe
One
not
more. Yeah, one
fully.
more rock with him. That is perfect. It's very good, but it's not perfect.
It's in that teaser position where it's.
Yep. Says, come get me. Come chase me around
And
the
you
wide
get a little
side.
touch of that top one. And,
Exactly.
but obviously she would have preferred rolling to where the broom is, not where the rock
Yeah.
is.
If that stone is half buried, Anna Hasselborg has got no really great option. This is not a fantastic option for her. Big decision. They're going to have a chat about it.
Känns som ett okej spår tycker jag. Det går ju rakt när man höjer oavsett. Alltså jag tror typ fart så med den isen. Ja, jag tror det är max. Ja,
För vi har gjort så här på dragningarna.
ja. Nu har det gått ett någonstans här då. Kanske fart så.
Ja, typ genom tror jag.
Men ja. Jag tror att det kommer hänga alltså. Jag tror också det kommer hänga.
Ja.
Jag gillar det där. Gillar ni det? Jag gillar
Bara
det.
igenom eller?
Fart igenom.
Bara tänk täpa liksom.
Ja, exakt. Ta lite till då. Ge den en chans nu då.
It's all about the weight. That's the entire discussion is about how hard do we throw this one.
Sara, den är
She'd
bara
probably just throw in a
precis
back line at most.
mer än det jag har. Ser du det jag
And
sa?
to be honest, Luke, I wouldn't even throw it that hard.
Alltså, jag tror att det är hur långt som helst där ute.
Pushing it out of the ring is a bonus. What you really need is the inside flop. You have to play it like a heavy draw.
How hard she hits this one. Like, she might be able
To get the action to the right, you almost have to hit a glancing blow with back forefoot weight and just redirect it a little bit.
Slanga dit den på känslan.
Get a tiny 1 or 2 rock roll to the right as we're looking at it.
Sen
Super
13,5
tough shot.
Well, Anna Hasselborg trying to keep her record perfect. Needs a comeback here. Needs this shot right now. Her final shot of the 7th end.
Bra fart! Håll igång! Bakåtta! Japp! Bakåtta! Japp! Nej! Nej!
They really have to flirt with the guard to make this one.
Perfekt fart!
Kommer ner mycket.
Lots of
Well
room
by it, well by it.
Tap it back, 8 foot. And you just pick it for 3. You don't
Exactly.
even play it cute.
They are shot, but they are in danger.
Well, we knew going into the end that they'd have to try go hard after it. Make this one go away.
Any contact on the brush side of the stone means at least 2 for Canada and probably 3. That might be enough to take them to victory.
Both these teams want to be in those top 2 seeds in the playoffs. Both unbeaten so far. Only one can after this. Jones trying to potentially clinch it with a shot for 3.
Clean is music to the ears of the sweepers.
Well, pick that one out.
It's a 3 spot for Canada.
And that's a well-played end, knowing what Sweden was trying to do. So 8-3. Canada controlling this one. Well, it was a big triple put up by the Canadian side. They played a perfect 7th end and got that 3. Don McEwen to try and keep this one going. Good stone placement now is what they're looking for.
Yep, they've got enough points on the board to win the game, Luke. Now it's a matter of just keep it simple. No rocks in play, no more rocks in play than necessary anyways. And Don McEwen throws that one into the rings.
See the corner guards, and Macy Canada try the tough tick of the corner just because they're not going to want to put 2 into the rings anyway.
Yeah, they may even throw it through.
Good numbers for Sofia Maverugs again at the lead spot for Sweden.
Long corner. It's going to be hard to use. Long way off the rings.
Yeah, really want to get those guards a little bit tighter. And coming in, obviously, 13 teams now in the field. 6 teams make the playoffs. The playoffs started right now. It would be Sweden, Canada, and straight into the semis. Korea, Russia, Czech Republic, and the U.S. would all be into the playoff round.
Yeah, there's a lot of jockeying for position going on for those 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. Lots of teams still in it.
Well, and right now Japan is sitting in 7th, but they'd played 1 less game than the teams tied for that final playoff spot. So a win here, they make it a 3-way tie with Czech Republic and the U.S. Korea, we know, is off this evening. They're at 6-2, sitting in 3rd.
Yeah, they're looking pretty safe. Not all the way home yet. But
and Russia in action right now. A 2-2 game.
yeah,
And as Russia with a hammer against Germany. They sit 5-2. So with a win tonight, Russia would tie Korea for that 3 spot. Of course, Korea has had their 2 losses coming to these 2 teams in your feature game as struggles with her draws for Jill Officer on 2 of them, but it was the hits that she's known for and that she's higher numbers with.
Guard is cleared.
Sorry, I thought I could give you less.
Yeah, the schedule home from here for South Korea looking favorable. Agnes Knockenhauer a little bit below her tournament average. She's been up in the high 80s, low 90s all week. It's often a degree of difficulty situation, though. Individual shooting percentages can be really misleading because it's a bit like the sport of diving. A simple swan dive is a lot easier than a triple pike in the half twist in the
I've seen you do
exterior
that in the hotel,
position. Well, that's just me
pool.
sliding down a curling sheet, really. The degree of difficulty has a lot to do with whether you make shots or not. And Sweden has had a lot of high degree of difficulty shots tonight. Canada are in runaway and hide mode now, just clearing guards.
Well, the team that could be a factor if this record stands will be Russia. And right now, they pick up a win. They can be 2 games back of the loser of this game. They'll play both Sweden and Canada tomorrow. How they do tomorrow will dictate where they finish in the standings.
Yeah. Still a lot of curling to do.
Yes. 2 full days of round robin still to play after this session.
But I have to say, Luke, I'm really looking forward to seeing this new playoff format in action.
I think we kill this. That's really long. Yeah.
6 teams in it, and it's much more straightforward, I think, from a fan's perspective. Once the 6 teams are in, you win, you keep going.
It's a lot easier to explain.
Absolutely.
And the advantage to the teams that finish 1 or 2, they get the bye to the semi, as we see Caitlin Law's numbers, 75% on her hits, 94 on draws.
Big weight.
Wants to blast that red one out.
Ba-boom. Small but mighty Caitlin Laws can really fire it.
Sara kvala lite mer nu då?
Ja, behöver nog ännu mer.
Någon då? Ja. Mot 95 tror jag.
You don't see this very often for Sarah McManus. 60% on draws, 78% on her hits.
It's been the story of the night for Team Sweden up and down the lineup. Just a bit scrappy. Well, this one really grabs and turns. Picks something up, I'm sure, in the top forefoot. See Jennifer Jones smiling.
They're both
and laughing.
looking at it and cleaning.
It's a bit of a break there for Sarah McManus. She'll take it. But for Team Hasselborg, even though it's looking likely that they're going to lose tonight, get a good night's sleep, wake up in the morning, realize we're still in the top 2 here. Just keep winning, get to the semis.
And they'll bounce back. They play again tomorrow morning, so they won't be off the ice too long.
Yeah, not too long to stew about the whole thing. Get back and play.
Not wanting to leave anything in there to freeze on. That's why the urgency to get it out of the back of the rings. Caitlin Laws plays that run back.
Caitlin's had a very nice game tonight. Really solid. So yeah, coming back to Hasselborg's team, now the job is, okay, maybe we're not going to finish the tournament as the 1 seed, but we want to finish the tournament as the 2 seed. There's a genuine reward for coming in second. That's advancing directly to the semifinals. So you reset your goals. You say, okay, well played, Jennifer.
We'll see you.
Maybe see you in the final. Exactly. One thing you can say about sport, you go back in history, you don't remember who won the round robin game, you remember who won the final. Saying that, you don't win the round robin games, you don't get to the final.
Absolutely. Jennifer Jones trying to get back to the final. She hasn't won a world championship. Her only victory was in 2008. In her previous 5 trips, she does have a silver and a bronze.
Yeah. She would dearly love another world championship. Her legend in curling is cemented. 6-time Canadian champion, on a par now with the legendary Colleen Jones for most Canadian women's championships, and an Olympic gold medal around her neck. But I think she feels it would round out her legacy a little bit. She probably won't say this, but a 2nd world championship here at home would be a wonderful thing for Jennifer Jones.
Puts her in elite company.
I'm gonna have to bail on.
Try to get by.
Clips the guard. Heard her say in the hack. That's the execution tolerance. I'm going to clip the guard, open it up. She knows they can afford to drop 2 here. Just don't want to drop 3.
Look where she touched the guard, though, when things are working your way.
Yeah.
I curled a lot.
What does she do? Guards her own stone perfectly.
Yeah. One to wait.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the guard tick.
There's that corner guard tick. This
Exactly. Just clip it sideways, stick it in front of our own. Yeah, Jennifer Jones is good, but she's not that good. That wasn't the plan, but it worked out pretty well.
Lite mindre. Om vi vågar lite tid så kommer det ändå finnas finish över linan. Ja, det tror jag också.
Sweden must score at least 2 here to have any realistic chance at all to be in this one. Tough night at the office for Anna Hasselborg. Corner freeze. Trying to set it up. It's a good shot.
Yeah, no surprise seeing hitting the side one here. I want to try and get a little flop in behind
Like, even if
to
we
line
give up
2.
It's not the end of the world, right? So I don't really want to.
Yeah, inside roll would be great. Her Jennifer Tiller teammates, and she's absolutely right. If you drop 2, it's not the end of the world. Get the hammer back and 9-3 up.
Yeah, they won't complain about that.
Still going through the process, though. Locking in the weight, conferring with your teammates.
Well, Jennifer Jones, final shot of this 8th end.
Must be close. It's, yeah, whoa, yeah, whoa.
Trying to get the roll underneath. Roll it into lie. 1-2.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
Is there enough? Will it drag to be able to play that?
Well, I think the question is how much of the redstone can Anna Hasselborg actually hit?
But I think it's really close. Yeah.
And to hold the shooter.
Exactly. You're in a situation where you have to try it.
Or are they looking at running the guard?
That might be the easier way. It sounds bizarre, but angles might be better to run the guard in, depending how much, again, entirely depends on how much of the stone she can see to hit directly. Saying we have to hit it on the outside of the rock, otherwise the Yellowstone will drag back towards the stone on the 4-foot circle and jam. Problem is, if you hit it to avoid the drag, you have to throw it hard, hit half of it, and you're going to roll out.
Tighter score, you draw for 1.
Tighter score, yeah, absolutely a draw for 1. Is this what she's doing? My goodness, I'm surprised. Get the feeling with this decision, Luke, it's throw it in the 8-foot and shake hands.
I thought either way, if you're shaking hands, you might try and run that one just
for the fun, for the entertainment value. Probably wanting to leave the ice with a positive thought. So instead of trying the circus shot that might end in disaster, Anna Hasselborg taking the safe option here. Needs to draw, gets a piece of the 4-foot, score a single point. Not certain that they'll do this if they score, but just my gut tells me they just may shake hands, say, let's get some rest and come back tomorrow.
but still a shot that you want to make.
Oh,
put
totally.
Right in there.
She'll want to put this right on the lid.
Real big scrub. Got to get a piece of the 4-foot. Right down to it. Wow, they played it tight to their own. Get in for 1, and that will do it. You were right there, Ons. Well played, but Canada knocks off the Olympic silver medalist this afternoon. Now the Olympic gold medalist. And in a battle of Olympic champs, it's the 2014 champ. Comes out on top here.
Pretty happy crowd here in North Bay, absolutely. Deserving winners. Better team tonight. by a wide margin.
So Canada now 8-0. Sweden drops to 8-1. And Canada in that driver's seat for first overall into the playoffs. Well, sixth end of this game, and it was a chance to get 2 for Sweden. Jennifer Jones misses the freeze. The in-turn draw. And Anna Hasselborg will come down and rolls off their own. Took a measure here. Very close one, but it did stop just in time, so it is 2 for Sweden. Right back in the 7th end. Going all out, trying to get the force or a steal. Not quite good enough, and now Jennifer Jones has the pick, score 3, and well on their way with a commanding 5-point lead at that point. And not able to generate their deuce. Sweden looked at the angles, what there was. Decide it's not there. We are going to draw for our single point. And Knockenhauer, Mavericks take this one to the 4-foot for a single point. And that was enough concession there. Jennifer Jones and Team Canada win the battle of unbeatens and sit atop the standings now. Well, session 14 scores 2-2 in the 9th end. Russia with the hammer in that one against Germany. Well, Japan 7-5 over Italy. Japan has the hammer in 9. 7-6 Scotland on top of China, but China has the hammer as they play 9 in our game final 8-4. Canada winning, doubling up Sweden, and that puts them at the top of the standings. They move ahead of Sweden. Sweden at 8-1 right behind, followed closely by Korea, 6-2. Russia 5-2. Then Czech Republic and the U.S. will finish today at 4-4. Japan in action at 3-4 still. China right behind at 3-5. Then Switzerland the same record. Denmark, Italy, and Scotland all at 2-6. Germany 1-6 rounds out the field. As that will wrap up session 14 for myself, Luke Coley, Hans Frauenlove, the entire crew. It's been a pleasure bringing you Sweden versus Canada. Hope to see you the next couple days of round robin play and into the playoffs here from North Bay in the Ford World Women's Curling Championship.